First in high definition from the station on your side, this is WAVY News 10.
We begin with live team coverage from Virginia Tech about new information about what led to the shooting of a campus police officer. Good evening, I'm Tom Schaff.
And I'm Stephanie Harris. Nicole Livas has the night off.
Many more details are emerging about the man who pulled the trigger and the officer killed, Derek Krause.
Our Melanie Woodrow is gathering information about the campus response to yesterday's shooting, but we begin with 10 on your side's Andy Fox, who is live on the Virginia Tech campus. Andy, what'd you learn today?
Yeah. Well, we've learned a lot. During a news conference, we started to gain a lot more of the details of exactly what unfolded here at Virginia Tech yesterday. Where we're broadcasting from is called the drill field, and behind me is where there will be a candlelight vigil in honor of Officer Krause, who was killed yesterday. It's been a tragic day yesterday and today, everyone trying to piece together exactly what happened. This is the spot where Officer Derek Krause died, gunned down as he sat in his patrol car during a routine traffic stop. Virginia State Police spokesperson Corinne Geller.
During the course of the traffic stop, Officer Krause was approached by an unknown male and was fatally shot.
Police say there's no evidence Krause and the suspect, who was not a Virginia Tech student, knew each other. But Krause's in-car camera videotaped the suspect with the handgun used to kill Krause, according to state police.
And the video captured a male subject with a handgun at the officer's car at the time of the shooting.
Krause is shot dead here. Police then say the suspect takes off walking. He's going that direction. 300 yards up the street, the suspect comes to the university greenhouses.
He ran to the greenhouses where he apparently changed clothes, taking off a pullover top and a wool cap and putting them in a backpack, which he then left there at the greenhouses.
The suspect leaves his backpack here at the greenhouse and he keeps walking this way. But remember, he is now dressed differently than at the time of the shooting of Officer Krause. And for a long time, that threw off police. Wearing a different top and hat, the suspect runs to this massive parking lot where a deputy sheriff sees the man acting strangely in the back part of the parking lot.
And then as he came down the row in the parking lot is when he found the individual laying in the parking lot with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. So nobody actually witnessed him taking his own life.
University workers are cleaning the site where the suspect killed himself. He had no identification here because that was in the backpack at the greenhouse. Yeah, and that led to a lot of problems with police because when they saw the suspect who was dead on the parking lot down there, he looked differently, had a different description as the man who was responsible, they thought, for killing Krause. So there was a lot of time in between trying to connect the dots. Now, Stephanie, this candlelight vigil begins at 6:30. We'll have an update at 6. Local students, exactly what they were doing when they went on lockdown. That story coming up. Back to you.
It was a really confusing situation there. Thanks, Andy.
And as the shooting incident unfolded, a hearing was taking place on Capitol Hill. That's where the university was appealing a $55,000 fine by the Department of Education over its response to the 2007 shootings. Then on your side's Melanie Woodrow's here to show us what procedures Virginia Tech had in place to respond this time around. Melanie?
Tom, campus officials used the alert system to notify students in less than 10 minutes that those shots were fired on campus. Virginia Tech on lockdown.
It was truly an integrated response of local and regional law enforcement as well as the Virginia State Police.
The Associate Vice President of University Relations said the alert system worked exactly as expected.
Right around 12:30 is when the call came in, and somewhere in the 12:36 to 12:37 time frame, the first alert went out.
As law enforcement officials determined what was happening, students stayed put, many of them in their dorms.
We had used that alert system 6 times throughout the day.
Updates were sent via text, phone messages, and computer alerts. By late afternoon, students were allowed to leave select buildings on campus at their own risk. Today, students and the community learned more about the gunman.
I can tell you at this point he is not a Virginia Tech student.
State Police spokesperson Corinne Geller also said he was not a former student. After some argued university officials did not alert students in a timely manner following the 2007 shooting rampage at Tech, campus officials said this time they acted on what they learned in the past.
This is just another example of what the regional cooperation and partnerships can accomplish in a very short matter of time, unfortunately, and yet another tragic situation on the Tech campus.
And as Andy Fox told you just a few moments ago, Virginia Tech students will be holding a vigil tonight at 6:30 p.m. By the way, those exams that were canceled today will be given tomorrow on the same schedule, different day. In the newsroom, Melanie Woodruff, 10 on your side.
So here's what we know now. State police say there was no connection between the gunman and Officer Derek Kraus. The shooter ran from the scene and changed clothes before killing himself in a nearby parking lot. He left those clothes in a backpack behind a greenhouse on campus. The gunman has not been identified. Investigators say they're still trying to figure out his motive.
A memorial fund's been set up to support the family of Tech Police Officer Derek Kraus. He was a married father of 5 children and stepchildren. Anyone who wants to make a donation can send a check to the National Bank of Blacksburg. And remember, you can find complete coverage of this story online at WAVY.com. There's a timeline of events, pictures from the scene, and of course details about the victim.
9 Old Dominion University students and 1 other man are charged in a drug bust near campus. Norfolk and state police arrested them yesterday. 10 on your side's Ann McNamara is at ODU tonight with the latest for us. Ann?
Well, Stephanie, 6 of those suspects have a total of more than 30 charges against them for selling drugs allegedly to undercover officers. Now, this months-long investigation all came about because citizens complained about drug activity in their neighborhoods. These are the faces of Old Dominion University students, some facing felony charges for allegedly selling marijuana to police and others. This man, Daniel O'Neill, is the only person arrested who won't tell police if he's a student. 4 of the arrested face charges for selling drugs on or near campus, specifically at the library. It's not clear if police searched that building because the search warrants are sealed. No one from ODU would address the drug charges on camera, but a spokeswoman tells 10 on your side ODU has a judicial process to punish those who violate the drug policy. In some cases, that can mean expulsion, even if the student violates the policy off campus. Friday, the school issued the following statement. These alleged attacks are not how we expect our students to behave and are not indicative of the vast majority of our student body.
Do you think that drugs are a problem at ODU?
I don't think I think they make it more of a big deal. I don't think it's really that serious, but you know, it's like a regular college. There's gonna be drug users.
Do you think that ODU has a drug problem?
Maybe. I think Norfolk might have a drug problem, and ODU gets caught up in that.
Norfolk police say these arrests have an immediate impact on the safety of the off-campus neighborhoods. An ODU spokeswoman does tell me the school is very proactive when it comes to drug education. They have programs that are educational, and also they reach out to students from the time they step foot here at orientation all the way through graduation. Live in Norfolk, I'm Ann McNamara, 10 on your side.
A Williamsburg man is accused of sexually assaulting a child. 52-year-old David Mixon is facing a list of charges. They include forcible sodomy and taking indecent liberties with a child. Police believe Mixon had been abusing a juvenile female for several years. He's being held at Virginia Peninsula Regional Jail with no bond.
The search is on for one of 2 suspects in a spare tire theft spree in Virginia Beach. Police already arrested 29-year-old Michelle McLean. They're still looking for 44-year-old John Paul Amler. Now, earlier this week, 10 on your side told you that they were suspected of stealing more than 25 spare tires off of cars all around the city. If you know where Amler is, call the crime line tonight. And Virginia Beach police also arrested these 2, Stephen Clark and Lauren Stewart. They're charged with robbery. Detectives say they hit the Chartway Credit Union along Holland Road last month. Stewart was already in Chesapeake City Jail, charged with robbing another bank when beach detectives charged him with this one. Police say Clark robbed the bank and Stewart waited outside as his getaway driver.
We are awaiting word about who killed a police officer at Virginia Tech Thursday. Coming up tonight at 5:30, what officials say really happened during their frantic search for the gunman.
And if you were stuck on the peninsula earlier today, look at that. That could be why. Still ahead, what caused this van to go up in flames on I-64?
This is not a real anti-American demonstration, but it sure felt like one for some local sailors today while they're dealing with hostile protesters in Yorktown.
And a look at the cloud cover over the area. Lots of cloud cover, but not a bad day. We hit highs today, generally into the low 60s throughout the area, but it's going to cool off significantly for the weekend. We'll tell you all about it with our forecast in just a few minutes.
Topping tonight's military headlines, look for a lot of happy faces at Naval Station Norfolk tomorrow because nearly 6,000 sailors from the George H.W. Bush Strike Group will be pulling in tomorrow. This was the first deployment for the carrier Bush, which spent 7 months at sea in support of U.S. forces in Iraq and Afghanistan.
I couldn't be prouder of this entire strike group and what they have done over the past 7 months, halfway around the world and back. It's been a great team.
That's Rear Admiral Nora Tyson, the first woman to command a carrier strike group. The ships and 9 squadrons of aircraft that make up Carrier Air Wing 8 also conducted security operations in the Mediterranean and Arabian Seas.
More job cuts are coming to Hampton Roads. More than 80 Army civilian positions will be eliminated at Joint Base Langley Eustis. The Army Training and Doctrine Command announced 86 positions will be slashed. It's part of defense funding cuts. Last month, we announced the Air Force would be eliminating 9,000 civilian jobs. Langley says about 500 local positions could be eliminated. Well, it feels more like a real threat than a training exercise.
Get down!
It's an adrenaline rush, that's for sure.
Still ahead, how the Navy is teaching our sailors to deal with hostile forces.
Held captive for nearly 5 years. Tonight you'll see new video of a former FBI agent taken hostage in Iran.
An intense week-long training exercise for locally based sailors ended today with a whole lot of fireworks.
But most of the action was on the ground. 10 on your side, military reporter Art Kahn shows us training from Yorktown for an upcoming deployment.
No, this is not the Middle East, and these protesters are really actors, but the demonstration sure looks like the real thing.
What we're trying to do is stress the individuals, stress them in a training environment so that when they go forward, that anything happens forward, they will have already been brought to that level.
Get down!
In this part of the exercise, the sailors are training to defend against any threat to their forward operating base in whatever part of the world they might be deployed.
Your folks is out there, your folks getting fired on. Your job is to make sure they're doing the right thing.
Pull them behind cover.
Just as in real combat, there are casualties in this exercise. Although no one is really hurt, no one is really sure what to expect next either.
My first time going up, I was nervous. I choked. And if I choke during a training exercise, what am I going to be like in the field, you know, a real life situation?
Don't even move! And that's exactly why they train like this.
It's our responsibility to ensure that our people are best prepared for the uninspected.
Port security is also a vital part of the exercise. Lessons learned here will be shared with coalition forces.
One of the primary functions of our expeditionary forces is to go out and help train other security forces from our partner nations so they can be self-sufficient.
And ready to defend against those that would do us harm. At Naval Weapons Station Yorktown, Art Kahn, 10 on your side.
Well, the Navy did not say when or where that group will be deploying.
Our annual Holiday Lights contest is in full swing, and this right here is last year's winner. Just visit WAVY.com and look for the banner. We are only accepting video submissions this year, so make them twinkle. Voting is December 13th through the 16th. Then on the 19th, we'll go live from the winner's house during our evening newscast. You'll find all the contest details on WAVY.com.
Now, in high definition, your Super Dot for 10 forecast with Chief Meteorologist Don Slater.
I wanted to know where Mr. Griswold was in that last piece of video.
I think I found him.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Clay. I could see Don doing
Don
that.
would do that.
I did that last weekend, but we're done with it for now.
And you're still like,
you're
please, I'm proud of you.
right. Yeah, it didn't fall off the roof, and I think you can see that last house from the space station. It's beautiful. Here's a look at what's going on right now into the area. We do have some sprinkles especially into the peninsula and toward the Smithfield area. But most of us are not likely to see much in the way of rainfall through the area. A couple of them moving across the Albemarle Sound, too. We move in for a closer view. Elizabeth City, or really south of town, a couple of sprinkles going on there. The bulk of what rain there is over Isle of Wight County, a little bit into Surrey County and toward the Poquoson area. And again, all of this lifting northeastward at a pretty good clip. And it's very, very light. It's just a sprinkle or two, perhaps enough to wet down the pavement, and that's about it during the evening hours. And we could see a little bit more of it overnight, but nothing real big. And that's not the main feature in our weekend forecast. We're not likely to see rain after tonight. And again, tonight it's just going to be a sprinkle or two. That's what we've got going on. It's going to be cooler for the weekend. Lots of cloud cover is out there. We're going to see that, but then we're going to see that get kicked on off by that cold front on off to the northwest. It'll move on through and pop all the cloud cover on offshore, so we'll clear off by later on in the day. But it's going to cool off as well. There are the sprinkles that we've got going on. Here's where things are by 9 o'clock in the evening. 5 to 10 mile-an-hour winds. And again, it's still a stray sprinkle as possible during the overnight hours. But the big story is that cool front moving through first thing in the morning. It's really going to arrive in layers, with another layer arriving by around the noon hour coming up for tomorrow. Winds will pick up 15 to 20 miles an hour. And we'll see some cloud cover during the day, first part of the day especially, but later on the wind should drop off, our skies should clear off, and we end up with lots of sunshine for the day on Sunday. Cloud cover still across the Outer Banks Sunday morning, but again, not all that much during the day. Here's where things are at the noon hour. Light northerly wind at about 10 miles an hour Sunday at the noon hour, becoming northeasterly at 5 to 10 by the end of the day Sunday. The big story again is it's going to cool off for the weekend. Now tomorrow morning starting out, it's not going to be that bad, but it's not going to warm up all that much. You saw it pop up to 50, 51 early in the day for Norfolk, but it'll drop on down during the afternoon hours and certainly overnight and on into Sunday. Now Sunday during the day will likely warm on up only to around 47, 48 degrees into the area, 47 to 49. So again, definitely cooler coming up by Sunday. Again, cloud cover, but not a bad day. Temperatures warmed on up into the low 60s. Beautiful day today in terms of, for this time of year, normal high temperatures around 54. We had 62 after a cold start to the day. Right now, it's into the 50s throughout the area, and it's going to drop on down overnight, likely only into the mid-40s, low to mid-40s into the area during the overnight hours. And again, temperatures right now mostly into the 50s after high temperatures into the 50s and even low 60s, but we'll see those temperatures cool off for tomorrow. 53, 54 early in the day. We'll clear off later on in the afternoon for North Carolina. For the south side, morning clouds, afternoon sunshine, low 50s, 51, 52 for the peninsula. It looks like about the same, around 50, 51 degrees. And for the middle peninsula, northern neck, eastern shore, around 49, 50 degrees. 51, nice average for tomorrow. Breezy, 47, less of a breeze, but cooler on Sunday, staying cool into most of next week.
A major recall involving hundreds of thousands of vehicles because the tires can fall off. You're going to find out which vehicles are on that list.
And a struggle involving a Virginia State trooper along Interstate 95 turned deadly. How a traffic stop could have saved a man's life.
Some of you had your cameras close by capturing pictures of a vehicle fire on the Willoughby Bay Bridge. Here it is. This van caught fire just before noon in the eastbound lanes of I-64 in Norfolk. All lanes were shut down while that fire was put out, backed up traffic for 4 miles. No word on injuries or what caused the fire. Remember, if you see news happening, send your pictures or videos to report it at WAVY.com. Well, a new video has surfaced of a retired FBI agent who vanished years ago in Iran.
I have been held here for 3.5 years. I am not in very good health.
The family of Robert Levinson received this video from his unidentified captors. He disappeared while working as a private investigator. There's no evidence of who is holding the 63-year-old father of 7. In the video, Levinson pleads with the U.S. to meet his captors' demands.
Police in Alabama are trying to figure out how a school bus ended up on its side. The bus flipped over on a rural road this morning. A few children were on that bus. No injuries reported, though. There is no word yet on what caused that accident. Now check this out. Lava flowing its way through a nearly abandoned, that's the good news, neighborhood in Hawaii. It's oozing down these cliffs and into the subdivision. Now, the lone remaining resident says that the flow is about 500 yards away from his home now. It will eventually reach the ocean. The volcano has been erupting continuously since 1983.
In tonight's Consumer Alert, Ford is recalling hundreds of thousands of cars tonight. They include 128,000 Ford Fusion and Mercury Milan sedans from the 2010-2011 model years. We're told the tires can fall off the cars. It only affects vehicles with 17-inch steel wheels. The bolts holding the wheels can apparently fracture, and eventually the wheels could come off. That's no expression in this case. There are no reports of crashes or injuries right now, and Ford dealers say they're going to replace the lug nuts on all four wheels.
Giving preemies an extra boost, how one common drug can give premature infants a fighting chance.
And a 9-year-old kicked out of his house. You're going to hear why his own mother says that she's behind it and would do it all again.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Steroids are used to give premature infants a better chance of survival, and new research shows that they may have life-saving effects at even earlier stages than first thought. Researchers say that there's now evidence prenatal steroids benefit infants born as early as 23 weeks. The drugs help the lungs mature, reduce the chance of brain bleeds, and boost survival rates. Stay with us. WAVY News 10 at 5:30 starts right now.